All right. Looks like nobody's here yet. It's just me. But I need to set up everything. So, see me. All right, Studio LB. He's my first person here. Thank you, Studio LB. And you are number 1. And number 2 is GoGo. Thank you, GoGo, so much for staying up with us tonight. And Minnie Rapunzel. Hello to you. All right, so you guys are usual people that are here all the time, so you know that I need to just kind of set up a few things. So let me kind of get myself together here. And I think tonight's going to be a really busy night because we've already got 4 people in the waiting room, so that's amazing. So let me do my setups. And if you want to be live with me, right below the video is the Zoom ID and passcode. So you just go to Zoom, you click on join a room, and then you enter the ID and the passcode. So next thing is the Discord. For those of you who want to join the Discord, I'm going to give you a new link today. Here that is. And for those of you who want to check out my new NDE channel, Mara Clips YouTube channel. Excuse me, let me give you the link for that. Find that. JeffMara NDE. Wait, that's not it. Clips. Let me add that. All right, there it is. There is the link for that. Copy. I will put that there. And let me see about the Facebook. JeffMara Podcast Facebook page. I think it's this if you want to be on the Facebook page. Stuff. And then for those of you who just want to friend me on Facebook, how do I find that? There it is. I think that's it. So if you even want to friend me on Facebook, we get 5,000 friends. So I'm not even at 1,000. So I've got a lot of space there. All right. So I've got a lot of things done there. We just do a couple more things here, so people can find me or find this. All right, I think we should be good. Except I think I need one more thing. I'm glad I just thought of this. I have to turn that on. All right, now I think I'm all ready to go. And what's so weird for me is I'm like, as I'm talking, there's nobody talking back to me, you know what I mean? So it's kind of strange because I'm used to talking to guests. But to be talking just, to you without getting anything back from you is a little strange. But, all right, there's 85 people here. There are 5 people in the waiting room. That's amazing. That's one of our best starts ever, from what I can remember. So I hope you guys are ready for a jam-packed night. And hello to everybody who's here. There's too many names to go through, but thank you all so much for joining me. And let's get started. So let's see who's here. Stephen and Evan, Joe, Carol, Merlin, Marvin, and Jen Ward. So let's start with Merlin. And well, let's start with Stephen and Evan and go from there. I usually start with well, let me just start with Merlin first, since Merlin has been our consistent official tarot reader, so we can get our tarot reading in, and then we'll go with Steve and Evan. So here you go, guys.
You got me?
I've got you. How's it going, Merlin?
It's going good. How about you? How
Gr-
about you? I'm hope everyone's doing okay.
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just crazy busy as usual.
Yes, sir.
Your
Uh,
volume's a little bit low. Can you turn it up a little bit?
um, uh,
Are you on your like computer's microphone?
no, I'm on both the laptop. I got something in the background. I'm gonna turn it down. Is that better?
No, I don't
So
hear.
I turned the okay. I turned the laptop down. So maybe hold on.
Maybe that'll be better. I've got you. How's it going,
Oh, I got the background playing now.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All
Can
right.
you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right. How are you this week? You're doing good, right?
Yes, sir. I'm
What is
doing
the
okay. How about you?
good? What is the tattoo of your on your arm?
Uh, this one,
Yeah.
this is one I want to get. It's an ex-wife. So
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a
getting
not.
that. But I got another one though. That's I got the Eye of Horus
Oh,
right here.
cool. Nice.
Yeah, so I got that after I got back from deployment.
Mm.
Um, helped remind me of the Middle Eastern type vibe and stuff. So.
Do you aren't there Egyptian tarot cards or
Oh
not?
yes, yeah. I'm there. Every tarot card you can probably imagine is out by now. Absolutely. Um, yes, sir.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right,
Hmm.
for those of you who don't know, Merlin is my official tarot reader. He comes every week, almost every week. Sometimes he can't be here, but he's been coming and he gives a group reading. So I guess that's a good way to start. We've been lately just putting 8, 1, 2, and 3 down, and I think that works best so everybody can participate. So if you want a reading right now before we get started, he's going to give 3 groups. You choose a group, and then we'll see, then you can see what comes up for you.
Yes, sir.
Sound
Um,
good?
yes, sir. This is a little bit different. This is an oracle, so it's like mainly not just my interpretation. I'll give you mine as well, but other people, what these images spark to mind of what first thing that comes in people's thought heads or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and the feelings they give as well. So it's easy. Oracle's a little bit easier than tarot. Because tarot, there's 78 cards, and this one's only like a 40 something card deck. And tarot, you have to memorize so much about that. And Oracle is usually easier because they have the meanings written on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's a lot easier, different than tarot. Absolutely.
Now you're going to be drawing 2 cards again, like usual, or you won't need to back it up this time, like usually you do.
Oh, I could, yeah, I'm gonna be drawing like the three piles, but like from or just we'll just do two piles, make it a lot easier.
No, not. I'm not. No, 3 piles is fine. I'm just saying within each pile you usually draw 2 cards.
Oh, yeah,
With
yes, yes, yes,
Oracle,
yes.
do you find it necessary to draw 2 to have the confirmation or not?
No, no, sir. Not in this particular instance. No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, let's
Yep.
let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Okay. I think that's pretty shuffled pretty good. There's no reverse to work this Oracle deck or any Oracle deck I know of, really. I mean, it could be, but not to my knowledge. Um, okay. Pile one, pile two. Back up a little bit so y'all can see. Pile two. Okay. All right. See, I'm doing it this way because it's a lot simpler, simplified. So this is this is card one. Okay, as y'all can see, I'm not doing anything. This is card two, and this is card three. Okay, so whatever group out of one, two, and three that you resonate to pick, I'm gonna give you time you all time to pick that. Okay. And then I'll reveal it and explain it to you. But it's not really, this isn't really that difficult because it's just Oracle. Um, but yeah, and I'll walk y'all through the process as well.
All right.
So hopefully y'all had enough time to pick by now. Okay, so pile one from okay is break the chain. Okay, so it's pretty much. Can y'all see? Okay, I don't know how much the image quality is, but it's break the chain. And so whatever this image is sparking to your mind, listen to your thoughts right now. All right, what chains need to be broken in your life? Okay, kind of like it reminds me of the breaking the chains of the devil tarot. Okay, so that and this is two. It's a little bent, but it's called a kasha. It says your guidance is divinely guided. Okay, so if for those of you that pick pile two and you've been having questions about certain aspects in your life, just know that your guides are always around you and you are always divinely guided. No matter what path we take, it is ours to walk. Okay. And for pile three, guys, this is called deep replenishment. It says retreat, rest, and be held. For all of you in group three that need much needed rest and you need some serenities to yourself, some peace, this is for you. And also, in whatever the image sparks to your mind, and whatever aspect in life you need to rest from or a break from, work or whatever, worry, self doubt, this is for you.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's a little bit how the oracle cards work. So it's really like we are the oracle. This particular deck is Rebecca Campbell, Work Your Light, and she literally has on her oracle deck that you are the oracle. So this deck is tailored to make your own intuition work like makes it look work a little bit harder for you to increase your own intuition. Okay, instead, you know what I mean. So that's the way that particular deck is tailored for specifically, and that's why it's so simple.
How many decks do you have?
Oh geez, eight now. I think about eight different ones.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Which one is your favorite?
The angel deck.
The angel deck? Why is that?
I don't know. I have like a different connection with it. It's like I know that whenever I pick that deck up, it's going to be accurate for sure. Because sometimes, even if I'm off a little bit, some decks are not as accurate. I feel like, but the Angel deck, no matter what my own emotional, state of mind happens to be, it's still accurate, for me. So that's why it's like just like a certain connection with the Angel deck. I don't know why. It just is.
Hmm.
It's just yeah. And I have it right here, as a matter of fact. So it's always close by.
Keep it with you
So
at all times.
yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I like. Some people say when they sleep under the tarot deck under the pillow, they can like get images, like as if they were drawing tarot, like certain things subconsciously, what path to take, something they would be debating about, and they will wake up and they will remember a very very lucid dream, and it was detailing exactly what steps they need to take and whatever question they were happening to wanting to know about. But
Hmm.
it's stories like that.
Hmm.
Absolutely, the tarot, and it's just it's. But we have to remember that the ability is not in the cards. That's just a conduit for our power.
Right.
Our because we have the power. We always have the power, and we trick ourselves into believing we don't, and we do. So, I'm more about belief in oneself when it comes to like magic and stuff like that. That's why I gravitate towards chaos magic, because it's not really the exact method or the practicality of it, but only the belief in oneself. And that's why I gravitate towards that, because it resonates with me, because it's like doesn't matter what kind of ceremonial ritual, no disrespect towards anybody, but what kind of process I go through, if it's not going to work, if I don't believe in the power of it working, because we are the power.
Right.
So
Right. So are you still doing readings in Discord?
I will Sunday.
All right.
I've been doing other readings for Utopia Magic, but um, yeah, for sure. I would definitely do them Discord Sunday. I just kind of been like scattered everywhere. So, but yeah, definitely. Just direct message me, please, if y'all are interested, and I'll leave a message in general chat and services as well, just to remind everyone that I'll be available for that.
All right. And
Um,
if you're new and you don't know what we're talking about, Discord is kind of like Facebook, but not really. And it's free to join it. You can go there and get a free profile. Once you do, you can join my personal server, which the link to it's down below in the description. And people like Merlin and Typo, they do some free stuff there. I think Merlin does his mostly on Sundays. So as he said, you can just hit him up on Discord and maybe you guys can, hook up whatever's comfortable for you.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, Merlin. Well, I've got to run. We've got 4 people waiting on me, but thanks again for coming this week and have a great week, bud.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
You too. Thank you.
Hmm? All right, that was Merlin. So next we've got Steve and Evan. Now, Stephen and Evan were guests a long time ago, and we talked about some artifacts that they had from Lemuria and oh gosh, why can't I think of the other place? It's everybody knows it, but Lemuria and Atlantis, some jewelry. And from time to time, they pop in and they tell us about what's going on with their. They have a kind of like a monthly thing going together once a month. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I was trying to introduce you guys. What is it called? Alien Ancestry.
Yes, it is. Yes,
So
that's our
they
monthly
are.
conference.
It's an online conference. It's once a month, Alien Ancestry, and I believe you guys have another conference coming up.
Yeah.
When is the conference?
It would be over in North America, Canada and USA. It would be next Saturday for the Australians. It's our Sunday.
Oh, Sunday in Australia, next Saturday in North America.
And you don't have to watch it at that time. You can watch it any time during the month. That's really important to understand. You don't have to come in at that moment when you're busy.
Now, what are you guys going to be talking about this month?
Right. Well, we're following on, as you probably know from last time, we're very involved in original and indigenous prophecies, and we're following on the Hopi prophecy about the fact that when the change comes, people need to understand the old teachings. So it's going to be about old teachings.
The old teachings.
We have 2 elders, two extremely good original painters. And what we're going to do is we're going to find out, Alan, one of the 2 elders, is going to talk about one painting, which is to do with the 7 sisters from the Pleiades. And he's going to go into all the mythology, because what people don't understand about old way original art, it's linked into ceremony and story. And when you see the art, you're supposed to also do it with the ceremony and the story. So what these gentlemen will be doing is taking us through the stories. Peter, when he paints, he sits with an elder. They talk about the story so he gets a feel for it. And when he's got permission off that elder, then he paints it. And some of the profit he gets goes straight back to the elder. This is old way. That's how we used to do things, like sharing the hunt. So we're going to have those 2 people talking, and they're both original, obviously. One's a culture keeper, and one is an elder, aren't they?
Yeah.
Let me stop. Can I ask you a question real quick here?
Yeah, please.
Well, 2 questions. Do you know John Scott, fellow Australian, that he's NDEer, wrote a book, God's Mountain? Anyways,
Yeah. I've definitely heard the name, and I feel like maybe we've even crossed paths in an
yeah.
online conference somewhere here and there. So
Well, he pointed out something fascinating to me that I never put together before.
Mhm.
And that is with the word aborigine which you break it down to original.
Mhm.
Like I never just thought about it in that way. Like I think the prefix ab is away, isn't it away from original? Can you talk
It's
about
a
that?
negative, it's a negative precursor on top. That's why we call ourselves original, because original comes from the same base as abnormal, abhorrent. It's got a negative term, and there's arguments about what it means, but it is a negative term that lessens the race that it's given to. Yeah, he's right.
he's definitely onto that.
He's onto it. He's right.
Do you think that was purposely done by the newcomers?
Absolutely. The newcomers, when they brought their law, if you don't know the words properly, you can never win an illegal case. They brought that rule of semantics everywhere. So that's why they call people Aboriginal. It's a term that means basically that you're not fully of the highest level of humanity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that I've heard that my entire life, and until a couple of weeks ago, I'd never thought about that until he pointed that out.
Oh, well done. I appreciate him doing that. He's obviously on track, isn't he?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So the artwork that you're going to be talking about is Aboriginal artwork.
Yes, original art, yeah. What we're doing, yeah.
Do they ever call, in the U.S. here, now they don't really call them Indians as much as they call them Native Americans. Do they ever call them Native Australians down there?
No, not until quite recently. The word original's probably come up in the last decade only, and before that they just...
Well, there's probably First Nations gets...
First Nation gets put around. It's
still
really
in transition, really.
Yeah, really, we're a long way behind the Native American people in relation to politics and advancement. People have got to remember, in Australia, when I was a kid, Aboriginal or original people, whatever you want to call them, were not even counted in the census, and they were counted as animals.
Wow.
So when I was a child, that was the law. In fact, until 1988, the Aboriginal or original people were not considered to have been in Australia or had any legal rights. That was only changed in the High Court in 1988. So when you look at that sort of a legal framework, it's very difficult for the original or Aboriginal people to get united in anything like that, because they're still basically, when I was a kid, they weren't people. There was a census where they were counted with kangaroos, and that was the way it was. They had no legal rights until 1966. So we're further behind than any other group anywhere.
So in this conference this month, you're going to be talking about original artwork. Is that correct?
I'm going to do it for original artwork that links into the stories, and they'll talk about the stories, and they'll go back to old way traditions. So we're using the artwork as a way to go back and look at the old teachings in different ways.
And what I'll do for a segment of our session will be around the Blue Mountains and Greater Sydney area. For some reason, every original art style seems to be in that area, because a lot of original art is region-based. Like, it'll have a style name, it's from a geographic region, but for some reason that area seems to have a bit of everything.
It's got all styles together.
I'll try to get our photos together.
I didn't know we were doing that.
Yeah.
I just found out I was doing that. I'm listening to that thing. I wonder where this is going. I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah, so it goes more with the art, and then there's the bit of the archaeology and the fieldwork we've done, just examining the fact that this particular area has all these different styles, and our contacts have had original elders from the geographic region that style is supposed to come down, look at it and going, yeah, that's legit. That's how we do it. But it's here. It shouldn't be here, but it is.
When did you decide I was doing that? Anyway,
about a week ago.
Okay, yeah. So we're doing that.
Now, who are the other speakers that are also going to be involved with this conference, and what will they be talking
Uncle
about?
Alan Parsons.
Yeah, Uncle Alan Parsons, Peter, who has a gallery, mind you, of art, original art, and then you'll have more questions for Leah and Mesaref.
Yeah, we do that. And what I'm also going to do, and I got kicked out last time from doing it because I haven't changed what I was doing then. In this one, there are two parts to Old Way. We're going to do obviously the art and all the things that links into, but there's another part that's quite vexed and you get into a lot of trouble with mainstream when you even bring it up. I'm going to talk about the clever fellas, the magic fellas, and the magic that they had. And I'm going to try and prove to people that it was real. Because if you want to talk about Old Way and you want to just do the stuff you can see and do the archaeology, then you're not giving respect to indigenous cultures around the world, because they all believed there were people who had magical powers. And if you don't talk about that, we're not doing justice. So the other part we're doing, I was going to do that last time, but I got kicked off by Evan, but I am doing it this time because it links to Old Way. So we will be doing that.
I'm just going with your themes.
Yes, I know. Well, we're putting both in this time, Evan. So we're going to talk about both those things. And then, like Evan said, we have a lady with us who was a contact with an alien, a group of aliens, and one in particular. And when I first met her, I kept thinking, great talk, and I love what you're saying, but how can you prove to me, because I want a scientific base there, that this is real? So what I did with her, I asked her about a dozen questions that she didn't know the answer to. And in some cases, nobody but me knew the answer to, because I never told anyone. And after she answered every one of them correctly a dozen times, I gave up. And we do links with him. His name is Mesaref. And he's been part of all the alien groups that have been watching us for so long. And in that area, we do something different. I ask questions that Leah then sends to Mesaref, and then we come back and we talk about the answer. I don't know it before. And what I'm looking at there is the most important part of the equation of alien presence. And it's not if they were here, but why they came. So the questions we keep asking Mesaref as a representative of the alien group is not proof that you're here. We get that, and forget what the Pentagon are doing and what other groups are doing. It's done and dusted. The real question should always be, and I think this is why this doesn't get asked, because we're still fighting out if, is why did they come here? What was the overall purpose that drew aliens from all over the cosmos to one planet? And this planet, you think about the last 5,000 to 6,000 years. If you look at it, Jeffrey, you'll find one thing is common: warfare. That is the one thing we've been doing and also destroying the planet. Both, two things.
We're pretty good at both, really.
Yeah, let's be honest. We're doing them both well. And I've said to my elders more than once, I remember way back, I asked this question. You say they're here, I get it, but I don't get why. Why would you bother and spending all your time and effort on a planet of cranky primates that all they seem to want to do with each other is stab and kill them?
Yeah.
So really, that's what I want to talk about. We also do that each time.
Now, let me sorry to interrupt you, but let me backtrack here. Mesaref, doesn't Leah channel Mesaref?
Yes, yes.
So, and I've had Leah on as a guest before, and she channels an alien, I guess an alien being, Mesaref. So she will be doing live channeling?
Well, what she does is she asks the questions. Mesaref is there in presence when she's giving the answer. And what we do is she reads out word for word. She writes down what she's told. She reads that out. And then what we then do is we try and talk about it a bit between ourselves about what it means. And I'm going to be honest, on about half the occasions after what I've heard, I know whatever I said will sound like a kindergarten effort, and I don't want to say anything. On a couple of occasions, I thought it was just way past my pay scale. I just said, pass, I'm not speaking on that. Because sometimes, honestly, if you want to find out if it's real, don't take Leah's word for it or mine. Listen and read what's been said. And when you read and listen to what this guy said, you realize there's no human on the planet that has this wisdom. It's beyond what we've got. And I can tell you, people who think we made that up, I wish I could. I would be so freaking smart.
What is the most shocking thing that Mesaref has ever told you that it just blew your mind?
There's so many. I've got one. One that came to mind was when I asked the question. I will learn after a while. Same with my elders. When you ask them questions, you get things back that are worse than the question and you don't know the answer. But I got one where I thought I really did know the answer.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
And I said to Mesaref once, I said, look, on this planet, there are 3 stories about what happens when we die. So one says, after we die, there's nothing. And I said, another group say, after we die, there's heaven. Once, one go, that's it. And you don't come back. And then he said, and then I said, the third group believe in reincarnation, which is what I believe in. And I'm sure it's right. And it sort of is, but it isn't. And I said to him, one of these must be right and 2 must be wrong. I said, could you give an answer to that? Now, that's a fairly important question, I thought.
It really is.
Anyway, the answer was, and Leah says, you're not going to like this one. And she does that a lot, unfortunately. And I don't, because I'm not pre-warned, which makes it worse for me, because sometimes I end up saying stupid things, but it doesn't matter. That's what should go there. Anyway, he said this. He said, all 3. I said, what? I said, that's the only thing it can't be. And what he said was this. He said, no, every being on this planet comes here with one thing that they own. It's called free will. Now, those that say when you die, there's nothing past that point, that is their decision. Their soul goes back into that collective unconsciousness and gets wiped clean and starts again. Those who say they go to heaven and don't come back, if that's what they want, that's what they get. And those who believe or don't know, it doesn't matter, they'll come back anyway. It's up to you. If you have an opinion on that, that was what you get. So what he told me was, it's all 3. So that threw me a bit. But there's been a lot. There've been so many, it's really hard to run through them all. But all I would say to people who think, oh, look, I'm not sure that's right, the best way to judge is not what we've said or what proof we put up. Listen to his responses, and you'll learn, like me, even me, who I'm an incredible skeptic. With Leah, even after she did this, I still kept in the back of my mind, maybe she's making this up. But honestly, the number of times that Mesreth gives her information, which is what she doesn't want to hear, is more common than when it does. And I've got to tell you, it's got to the stage now, I regard him like I regard Kano and Arnie Bev, my main elders. I regard their information on culture. I never question it. And his information on all the stuff we've asked him, I never question. It's the real deal. Wow. I've asked him once, was he ever, because he's been here forever, a long, long time. Were you ever, your race, were you mistaken as angels, didn't I? He said, yes, we have been. We've also been mistaken as fallen angels. Yeah. And that's where the concept of angel comes from, because what's interesting about Mesreth's incarnation, and it's a group incarnation we found out, is they live forever. And he actually would prefer to be like humans, where we die and come back and do it again. For him, he doesn't enjoy that. But when you think about angels, what do we think about angels? They're emissaries from God that live forever. That's where we got the story from. That story comes from those aliens, the group of aliens that Mesreth is part of. Wow. So to an extent, we have indirectly, through second and third hand, we've got a royal telephone. And we just ask different questions, basically about why we're here and what the real purpose of life is. And we just keep changing around. And we've done how many now? About 10?
Yeah, about 10.
Yeah, we've asked over 100 questions.
All right, guys. Well, I've got to run. But before I go, it's alienancestry.com.
Yeah. Our alienancestry.net.
Okay, our alienancestry.net. It's an online conference once a month. It'll be coming up this coming weekend, a week from today. So if you guys want to check it out, check it out. And thanks again for coming and telling us what's coming up this weekend.
We really appreciate it, mate.
Thank you. Great seeing you guys. You guys take care.
We will. Same to you. Thank you so much. Oh, man.
All right, so our alien ancestry, and that was pretty interesting that they spoke to Mesreth, and he said it's all 3. You take your choice of how you want to come back or not. So, all right, so let's move on. We're pretty busy here, which is great. It looks like Joe Carroll is the next in line, so we'll add in Joel. And off we go. And while we're waiting, you can get in line if you want to be here with me and all of us. You just go to zoom.com, you click on join a meeting, and then it'll ask you for the room ID as well as the password, and both of those are right below the video in the description, so you can get in and pop on. And let's see if Joel will be able to put ask to start video. And then who I see and waiting for me is Jen Ward. And Jen was just on this week, and we talked about her tapping technique. And so we'll see what she's up to. And it's interesting because it was going so quickly. I wasn't expecting it to come back to a hold up like this. Well, wait a minute, and then if he's having trouble, what I'll do is I'll put him back into the rating room and bring Jen on, and then we'll go back to him. So if I do that, Joel, please don't feel that I'm kicking you out. I'm just kind of keeping things moving on as we go here. I think I want to keep it going. So let's do that. Let's move you back into the waiting room, and maybe it's going to just take a minute for it to kind of connect. And let's see what's going on with Jen here. I can already hear her, and now I see her. Hey Jen, welcome back.
Hi. Hi. Can we bring Marvin in as well with me?
Oh,
My
sure.
husband?
All right, so we'll bring you both here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that back up. Where is that? And can you point your mic to your mic's a little bit low, so you may yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's much better. Sometimes mics are real directional, so you have to be exactly in front of it. Or
Marvin's teaching me those things.
So it looks like you have a plush collection behind you.
Yes, it's because for a few reasons, the childlike wonder, we advocate for hanging on to that childlike wonder. And there actually is a metaphysical premise that all atoms are alive. Is Marvin admitted as well?
Marvin is here. Marvin is here. Now you guys are in Australia, right?
Yes.
I just had on some fellow Australians with, I don't know if you caught those guys.
We have talked with them. I loved what he was saying about you get to choose, which is really important for the work that we do in using the SFT protocol that we've created, because it allows the individual to choose, to know that they have options and not to like go into one of the choices by default. One of the three choices.
Yeah, that's cool. So what brings you back today? What would you like to talk about?
Well, I just want to thank you for being such a bridge for people to find us, which is an amazing feat in itself. And to like, because of the work you've done in introducing us, we have developed another little question and answers meet and greet with myself and Marvin as a facilitator. Marvin, do you want to tell them about that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Can you just quick sound check? You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. And nice to be here. Nice to meet you. I've been watching you for quite a while. I was so glad when we got the nudge to reach out, and then you graciously accepted the invitation to interview Jen. So thanks for that. Thanks for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
As a result of that interview, we've got quite a few, let's just call them new people who have been introduced to genuine healing and the work that Jen does. And so we're getting a lot of people that are asking questions and emailing Jen, and keeping on top of all of that is, quite the feat as well. So what we've decided to do is to host a little bit like this open mic that you're doing here, a meet and greet session. And for all of those who are newly found to Jen, and all of those that maybe if they're older in the community but have never sort of taken the initiative to take up some of the stuff. So we're going to be hosting this. It's going to be on North American Sunday, 7 p.m. New York time. which I'm guessing, just help me out here, Jeff, you're 1 hour back from New York time, so it'll be 6 p.m. Central time.
I mean, okay, it's going to be New York time is Eastern time for us, or Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on tomorrow, Sunday.
Sunday, this coming Sunday, tomorrow.
Okay, so it's going to be
7 p.m.
tomorrow.
New York time.
So okay, yeah. So tomorrow it'll be tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, and 4 Pacific. So wherever you are, there's your time
Wherever you
zones.
are in the world.
And it's going to be it sounds like a live open session, like an open Zoom like this. Yes.
So it's going to be an open Zoom. We'll have, so unlike what you're doing, you're allowing one guest in at a time. We'll have everyone in the one session, so that it's quite live, it's quite interactive, and we'll do Q&As, we'll take questions, we'll talk a little bit about how people can benefit from the amazing work that Jen does and all the resources at Genuine Healing. So to sign up to that session, I should let the listeners know how to do that.
Yeah.
If you go to the Genuine Healing website, which is genuinehealing.com with a J, genuinehealingwithaj.com, you go into the website, there's a purchase menu, and there's a whole bunch of icons. There's a meet and greet with Jen and Marvin. So just click on that link and then sign up. It's for free. So that's one fairly useful thing that's coming up. We've got a whole bunch of other things coming up, but I'll let Jen say something, and perhaps you might have some questions for us, Jeff.
All right.
I'm like fascinated with talking to people. I love interacting with people. So I've been, as Marvin's talking, I'm talking to people on your chat line and everything. So people are loving your accent, Marvin. And
Thank you.
They love that we're in Australia, and Australian is representing here. So I think that's really cool as well. I don't know if we mentioned my past life, that I've been doing this work for lifetimes. It's not just I just showed up one day. So in a past lifetime, I was Madame Blavatsky. And in her early writings, she left a breadcrumb of trails to Australia. And she talked about how the spiritual work in Australia was going to be like another kind of as spiritual as, say, a Lemuria, and how the healing work that's done here is going to be a focal point for the world. So it's really exciting that others are getting a sense of that as well.
So, but you can tell from Jen's accent that she is from America.
Oh,
and can I tell you the story as to how we connected, Jeff?
You're reading my mind, because I wanted to ask that. How did you guys hook up?
it's crazy.
Reading your mind. So just in the same way that you interviewed Jen on your podcast about 2 years ago, Jen was interviewed on another podcast. And I didn't regularly tune into that podcast, but for some reason on a particular day about 2 years ago, I got the nudge to just see, what's being said on this, podcast. And Jen was being interviewed. And so I clicked on the link. I started watching the interview. Within about 15 seconds, I just had this holy shit moment to say, this chick is the real deal. And so I listened to the interview, and after the interview, and it was a very powerful interview. There was shifts going on left, right, and center. And immediately after the interview, I went on to the Genuine Healing website. I decided to book a private session with her, and she was so pre-booked as a result of that interview that I had to wait 6 weeks to get a private session. And the funny thing is that I didn't have any particular burning platform issue, that I needed to have resolved in my life. There was just this instant recognition, instant connection. And so, in the course of waiting the 6 weeks, I then listened to hundreds of her private sessions that were recorded in audio in those days. And they were powerful sessions. A lot of them were difficult to listen to. They were very confronting. Jen was dealing with the client's issue, from every facet of the human experience, trauma and all sorts of things, anguish and pain, and it was a real eye-opener for me, because I actually don't have that experience of having that side of the human experience. So it was really revealing. Anyway, I had the private session. We started to bing bang on social media, which is really rare for me, because I really don't like social media. I've got an aversion to it. And anyway, we soon discovered that we are bonded in purpose. And can I tell the story, Jen?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask this. This is my premonition I'm getting, but I could be totally wrong. I'm wondering if you guys have been together in other lifetimes.
Yes.
You can tell
Very
about
much.
900 years ago?
Okay, so the short answer is yes, we're soulmates. So we've kind of been together from the beginning, and I mean the beginning. And so we've had a number of important lifetimes together, but one of them was in the King Arthur lifetime. Jen, pick up the story, because you're way more intimately connected in that story than I am.
That's interesting. I've always been fascinated with King Arthur, and it appears there's some truth to it, at least. And now you're going to add to it.
So, so the story of King Arthur, as it's told outwardly, is kind of a little bit wrong. It's not wrong, but like the heroine is demonized and the antagonist is emulated and stuff. So Marvin and I were a throwback to like the priestesses of the temple time, when husband and wife, they ruled together. Male and male energy was like, male energy is driven to a single purpose, and female energy is all encompassing. So she takes in the overview and is able to advise the male energy of what he needs to know while he's single focused. So it's really important that male and female energy rule together, which we don't really see in the present time. So King Arthur was groomed in that lifetime to be able to have all that he needed to bring back a balance to the male and female energy, because that was what was missing in the world. And he was groomed for like decades, if not more, by goddess and god energy, like getting together to like get the perfect DNA of the soul, so he could be strong enough to do all this. And but his sister,
Sorry, just before you do, can you just tell the listener in this story, who am I, who are you, and what the connection is?
Okay, so I've always had a fascination with the King Arthur story, and yeah, he's King Arthur. He was told on his first session, he told me, he goes, I was told I'm King Arthur, but I don't believe it. And I basically said, I don't believe it either, whatever. But then, and I knew that I was Lady of the Lake, Morgana. But she was demonized in history because what their purpose was to come together and balance out male and female energy in the world. Now, what happened was the Western bishops and Christianity didn't want that to happen. So they introduced to this plot, the only way that he could fail is if he was attacked from within. So if he doubted himself and didn't prevail. So we were slated to marry and to rule together. And but then he got introduced to what's her name? Guinevere.
Guinevere.
And Guinevere was propped up with all these love potions and these spells to be really irresistible to him. That's my story, and I'm sticking it to it. I can't believe on his own he would choose her instead of me, and he's still not living it down. So, anyways, and the one who's considered a hero in the story is Lancelot, was really the big asshole. I mean, everyone thinks Lancelot is so purer than the driven snow, but what did he do? He screwed his best friend. He slept with his wife. He brought down Camelot. He demonized the Lady of the Lake, which is a spiritual priestess. and he goes off scot-free, smelling like a rose. But what he was doing in that lifetime was he was taking the energy of King Arthur and using it for himself. So for the lifetime, so the last 900 years, this asshole Lancelot has been draining King Arthur of his lifeblood. So the first thing that we needed to do when we met was I needed to like help Marvin get back his sovereignty and his empowerment. And so that took a couple years because he was so invested in the primal man thing and stuff. But King Arthur, by one of his goals was to bring back chivalry, and he had the Knights of the Round Table. Well, the Round Table wasn't about being like, the whole purpose was there was no head to the table, meaning they were taking people out of like the powers scale.
So there are equals.
Yeah.
And everyone was being equal, and he was balancing out the male and female energy in people. So that's what got derailed 900 years ago. So through our reconnection, and by the way, it's a miracle that we were able to reconnect, because everything that the world could throw at me and Marvin has happened to keep us apart and to keep us from finding each other and to keep us from liking each other. And so we broke all through all of that, and we stayed connected and trusted in our purpose. When I met him, we both had a similar intention. His was to create a not a commune, but a spiritual community that was self-sustaining. And mine was to create this healing forest where all the trees were infused with my healing ability, and people would get healed just by going in it, like getting healed like a Lourdes or one of these places in spiritual vortexes. So what we realized is we're supposed to combine those intentions, and then the fruit trees and the orchard trees in that property will be infused with healing abilities. So not only by walking through them, but by taking in their fruit, they will be healing for people.
Can I just add something really quickly? So in the Arthur lifetime, the intention was that Jen and I were meant to be a catalyst for uplifting all of humanity, and that intention was taken down, and it ultimately failed. And then, so here we are reconnecting 900 thereabouts years later, because it's always contentious, as to the time frame of the Arthur story. But regardless of that, regardless of the historical narrative, for many centuries later, we have miraculously found each other again, reconnected, and we're taking up that purpose again. So Jen, in her way, with her incredible healing abilities and to perceive in energy, to pull out stagnant energy, it's just it is astounding what she can do. And so my part of this is to uplift humanity by transforming the global business and investment community to actually serve society and serve humanity, rather than just draining it and greed, money, profit, structure, power mongers, all of that sort of stuff. So that's the work that we do together.
All right, before I run, I'm going to get one last question in, and that is, where does Merlin the magician fit in with all this?
Merlin is wonderful, but he is more, male energy. He was more like a note carrier,
a note taker.
A note taker. No, not taking notes, but a messenger boy for the goddesses. Hey, babies, they're making fun of our matching shirts on the line and stuff. They don't realize that we've only been married. How long have we been married? Like 6 weeks now, and we're still newlyweds, so we get to do dorky things like that. So people, give us a break. Anyway,
so the short answer is Merlin was, he was real. He had abilities, but the real abilities was held in the hands of the Lady of the Lake.
Right. Yes, and show them our wedding bands. That's the King Arthur's crest.
Oh,
it's
cool.
It's a dragon. So one of the things we do is, in the old analogies of like the knights taking down the dragon and slaying the dragon.
Mhm.
Well, there's empowerment in your dragon bodies. So when the knights were out slaying the dragon, they were slaying something powerful in man. And it has to go along with the genocide of the pagan energy, that goddess energy, through years and centuries of the Crusades. So what we're doing now is, I know people are saying that my bookshelf is dorky and yours are dorky because you got plushies, but what we're doing, they're so mean to us, but what they're doing, I'm so sensitive, they're hurting my feelings. But what we're doing is we're bringing back that sensitivity and stuff and holding place in the collective for that sweetness.
Jeff, can I just, I know you need to run. Can I do 15 seconds as a
Sure,
really important announcement?
Sure.
We are coming into, in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer solstice, and in the Southern Hemisphere, the winter solstice. And so this solstice is a natural sort of energetic portal. So on important portal days, Jen and I regularly host group SFT tapping events to uplift the collective, all of humanity, address issues like, eradicating war, world peace, saving the environment, respecting of indigenous cultures, all sorts of things. So in this coming solstice, so in North America, June the 21st, 3 p.m. New York time. Now, I know that's a Tuesday, and I know that not everyone is available. We're holding a free group tapping event. There's a lot of examples on the Genuine Healing YouTube channel if people want to see what goes on in one of these. But sign up to that, jump onto the Genuine Healing website, genuinehealing.com with a J. In the purchase menu, there's a link to the summer and winter solstice group SFT tapping event. Sign up to that. You'll get a Zoom link. Quite often we get sort of 20, 30 people joining. And the important thing about these group tapping events is that, we get 20, 30, 40 people of the same or similar intention concurrently doing the tapping work, and it basically magnifies the powerful effect of the tapping and the intentions for manifesting, outcomes that are really important for human survival and the upliftment of humanity and for mass enlightenment. So that's the work that we're doing. And keep an eye on things because we regularly hold these things. We did one we did a couple actually recently, around the 24th of February, addressing a particular issue in Eastern Europe, if that isn't too cryptic for you.
Right.
So there you go.
All right, guys.
Thank
well,
you so
thanks
much.
for popping in and hanging out with us. And that was cool to talk about King Arthur. And I hope you guys pop in again sometime.
We will. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. And it's genuinehealing.com. Is that correct?
With a J.
With a J. All right. Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't report. And I have to do these one at a time. All right. Cool. Now we had Joel here. I don't know. Maybe Joel left. Maybe he will be back. I just missed him. So we'll wait and see here. All right. So it's been pretty busy so far. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Let us see what is going on with the week coming up. And by the way, while I've got it here, and it's 8 o'clock, so it's a perfect timing. Now I'm going to show you your remote viewing object. Are you guys ready for your remote viewing object? Do you want to put in the chat color, shape, or anything like that? So we can, if you want to, if you're brave enough to share what you think it is. I'm about to show you. So if you're ready for that, I'm giving you, well, there's always like a 30-second delay. So I'll wait for the delay and then I will see what's going on. All right, so you've got that. We've got a couple. Here we go. We'll wait for a few more. So it'll be there. We'll see. what you guys think it is. All right, there's 4 so far. It's kind of close. What was that? What was that? Red bowl, globe. That's red bowl's kind of close. Globe is kind of close. Silver pointy object at the top. That's kind of close. Yellow. That's kind of close. Green. All right, so here it is. Are you guys ready? It is this. Hopefully you can get that. It's not too bright. It's my wife's perfume. It's Chance. It's Chanel Chance. So someone said globe. So you are partly there because it is round. Someone said a bowl. I guess that you could kind of consider it to be a bowl since it's holding a liquid. A sharp, tiny, sharp. What was that? Shiny top. You know, this is kind of translucent, but that would be a shiny top. Possibly it's this. So we'll see what you guys think about that. And it looks like John Scott was there. I don't know if John just was there. Maybe you can pop on and we can talk about it. Evan and Stephen were just here, and we were just mentioning you and talking about the origin of the word Aborigine. And I had mentioned that I had learned from you about Aboriginal. So I hope you saw that you were here. It's a synchronicity that now you're here, and we were just talking about that. So yeah, that's this Chanel Chance. If you want to another one, just let us know in the chat, and I'll have my wife find something else. All right, so let's see what's going on this week. I have one tomorrow that I'm going to post. That was, the man had a hellish NDE, and it was similar to another one of my NDEs where it was like he was waiting in line. And you know, they weren't technically in hell. I don't know if he was, you know, he just knows he was waiting in line. I don't know if he was waiting in line. I think he feels like he was waiting in line to go to hell. Whereas my other guest wasn't really, I don't remember, you know, was he waiting in line? I feel like he was waiting in line to come back, and it was a long line, and this one was like a long line. So it's kind of cool to have that twice now about waiting in line. But so that's that one that'll be posting tomorrow. Let's see what is coming up for the week. For you guys, what is up for the week? I have one guy that's, I don't know if you've heard of him, Rob Gentile or Gentile. I think he's a well-published author, and I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking. I haven't prepared for that yet, but I have him be recording on Thursday. Couple NDEs scheduled this week already. I have one on Monday that I'm supposed to be recording. I'll tell you what that's about. You give me 1 second here. Machiel Clerk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Let's see, is this about Machiel Clerk? That's not the one. I already have him scheduled. Machiel Clerk will be discussing how you can harness the power of your unconscious through dream incubation, an age-old technique that teaches you to access hidden wisdom that can be used for personal development. So, and his book is called Dream Guidance. So it'd be kind of a dream-based book. So that should be pretty cool. And maybe that gives you a little insight to what I do here. So since I do these basically every day, I almost have to, it's hard to really prepare for them because, you got the next ones. I basically either prepare, I kind of do them late morning or in the evening. So I'll usually prepare for them that morning, or whether it's, in the, or that day of. Sometimes I prepare the day before. So it just depends on how busy my schedule is or what kind of free time that pops up for me. So, and John Scott's trying to get in, so we'll see what he has to say about the Aboriginals. But, yeah, so that's that. I still have some openings that I'm trying to fill, and hopefully I will fill them. I'll do my best. That's one of the hardest things, is trying to fill them. And sometimes, I think I spoke about before, is I want to have a show every single day. So sometimes guests, not by their fault, have to cancel on me. So sometimes I scramble around to find guests, and as I spoke last time, I've just kind of been manifesting guests in a way, or manifesting something to give you guys for a nightly podcast. If I just relax and just kind of feel like, okay, a guest is going to come, don't worry about it, then a guest appears. So hopefully I can continue down that path of just that kind of manifestation. All right, so John's saying he's trying to get in, but he's not in yet. I don't know where he is. And I have it here. So let me I got some news for you guys. For some news to what to talk about between guests here. Let's see. What do I have to? One of the was a news. I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if I talked about this last week or not. But one of them was that I think I did talk about that. But this is almost kind of like a follow up. Last week, I may have mentioned that someone who works at Google apparently has leaked information that that they've already achieved AI and the computer's sentient, which is pretty amazing if that's true. But also I have, and I put it here, and if you look in the description below, I put a link to the JeffMara podcast Facebook page. So I posted this, I believe, on that if you want to look at the news article later. But you can go there. You can you're welcome to follow that. And I even put below my own personal Facebook profile, and you're welcome to friend me on Facebook. I think I mentioned it before. You get like 5,000 friends, and I'm not there yet, so I'll be accepting friends until I've made that limit. You've become the Letterman of the spooky. Well, thank you very much. I'll take that as a compliment. And so anyways, back to this article. This article was basically saying that alien life form are robots or life forms that are part robot, part human. And maybe even some civilizations have gone extinct, but their alien page is unresponsive, but I'll just try to kind of summarize it myself. But imagine if the human race went extinct, but the AI and AI robots that we created are still living forever, long past we went extinct. And maybe some of the aliens that, we may encounter are actually going to be robots. Or maybe even the Greys are robots from an extinct biological race. So anyways, this article was, is ET a robot? Astronomer Royal says alien civilizations may have already transitioned from flesh and blood to machines, and humans will eventually do the same. So that's pretty, you might find that interesting. And I think if you've seen Elon Musk on other podcasts, he spoke about basically that we have to integrate the internet or computers into our brains, because once computers go AI and robots, they're probably going to see us as unnecessary, and that's maybe even necessary for survival of the human race. So I'll be curious to see what you guys think about that. All right, so there's 242 of you here right now. That means there should be approximately 2.5 of you waiting to get in to share, because what makes this live stream fun is when people come and share. So hopefully you'll if you're on the fence, you'll jump off the fence and jump into the podcast. So yeah, that was that news article. Let me see up there. There's another one that was interesting, and you may be able to find the video on YouTube. But recently, President Clinton was on the Late Late Show with James Corden, and a member of the band asked him about aliens and Area 51, and he gave some interesting answers. So if you have a chance, you might want to check that out for himself. And from the article, I just pulled an article up, but and it was really interesting. In the article, they said that no president, let me see if I can find it. But according to the article, President Obama was the first president ever to actually say that Area 51 is real, or acknowledge Area 51. And President Clinton, when he was there, was talking about about Area 51, and he said that at Area 51, that's where we were working on, invisibility with aircraft. And so let's see if I can read it to you. I said, so he said that he sent National Security Advisor, the late Sandy Berger, to the mysterious Nevada Air Force Base. And I said, we've got to find out how we're going to deal with this, because that's where we're going to do a lot of our invisibility research in terms of technology, like how we're flying airplanes that weren't picked up by radar and all that. So that's why they're so secretive. So he was talking about that of Area 50. And then he goes on to talk about him and Hillary were at the giant radio telescope in Hawaii, and basically I think he's summarizing that perhaps life is real, because the astronomers are arguing it's either 85 or 95% that life is real outside of our planet. So that's just a quick summarization. I recommend, if you're interested, to go check out the video for yourself. And I think you'll like it. So that is that one. And this is another one I found very curious. It was in Forbes that says, new psychological research says paranormal experiences are the norm, not the exception. And when I started reading it, it sounds like that they're putting what was it? Let me go back to the title. From my interpretation of the article, and I would be curious to see what anybody else says once they read the article, that they're accepting that a lot of people are having paranormal experiences, because apparently so many people are reporting of that. But I'm assuming that they're saying that, yes, that's a lot of people happening, but it's still like abnormal. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? And I think they may even have like a diagnosis for it, or they may come up with something. They're calling it transliminality. So we'll see how that comes out. But if you look into that article, that I would like to see what someone else's opinion is of that article. All right, so let me find you guys here. Popping around my thing, and we're still at 246 people. And it's 8:16. We've got 45 minutes left, guys. So if you're really thinking about getting on, it's time to do that. See what my wife is showing me. And someone said Bill Clinton is handsome. And one thing that I think I've discussed either on here while she's finding that, and or I discussed it with another guest, is Bill Clinton, I think, had a triple bypass or something like that. He had I think he had a triple bypass. And afterwards, I think he was scheduled again for another bypass surgery. And instead of going through that procedure, he went through Dr. Esselstyn's diet. And please forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, but Dr. Esselstyn has a diet where you basically are vegetarian, and not only are you vegetarian, you I think take all oil out of your diet as well. And from what I've seen of the diet, people are, and they've got, I think, like either there's, I can't remember how they did the studies, like I don't know if it was, I don't think it's a CT scan, but or MRI, but whatever the study is where it actually shows the plaque in the artery, plaque buildup, that they show that after being on this diet, your body reabsorbs that plaque, and your arteries would become naturally free. So it's pretty amazing. But she would be okay. Well, that's okay. Again, yeah, I think that's his name is Dr. Esselstyn. Yeah, that's what Penny said. I follow his diet: no oil, no salt, and vegan. Now, thank you, Deb R. And so, but I think at some point, President Clinton I think he was feeling a little bit too physically weak. I have 3 in the waiting room. Oh. Wow, that was the thing. Okay. Now that I just figured that out. Thank you so much. I didn't even notice that. So we'll try Joe first, because Joe was I tried to get him in earlier and I couldn't get him in. Anyways, and I think President Clinton went back to adding some fish in his diet. It's so hard to keep up with diets because there's so many types and what works and what doesn't work. It's, it's really hard. But I think that again, that Dr. Esselstyn, his diet can possibly get some amazing results. So that was the problem. I got to pay attention to that. I see that too. It's so funny. I didn't realize that this could do this. That's why I didn't see that. Now it's something that I've got to keep my eye on. All right, so Joel is still very slow on getting in. Not sure why. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you back into the waiting room, Joel. And I'll pop in Mr. Cake. We lost John. And we'll see what's going on with Mr. Cake today. There he is.
All right. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, he saw a UFO flying around out there. He was out with Monica, flying on Lolita Express.
I love that.
a good time, all right, folks. All right. Matthew, you can't get Matthew McConaughey. All right.
I wasn't sure if you were doing Matthew or you were doing Bill.
They're all kind of the South.
They both, yeah, you know, they're both, you know, Arkansas and Texas accents are pretty close. Yeah, I didn't realize that I had that people were there for some reason. I never, usually it always pops open and I immediately see that, but it's the first time for everything. So, what is new with you this week, Stephen?
Well, I was watching Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Whoa, Rufus, like you totally went the wrong way, dude. And I thought it was kind of weird. Like, how do they interpret what Socrates is saying? He's like, he loves billiards. It's like, did he even see it? I thought, see, you always want my spirit friend to try to communicate. And I thought maybe we should try charades.
There you go.
Like, you'll just ask some questions. So let's just, I'll turn it over here and then just see how she reacts.
So I ask a question like, let me think of it.
Just like, what sports do you like, or just anything? It doesn't matter.
Oh, you put me on the spot here. I'm not ready for a question for her.
Oh,
Let's see.
That's removing my hand. So you could say, like, what sports do you like? And she'll say, I like boxing.
Oh, okay.
Or archery.
All right. What is your favorite dance move? It's like kind of like the hula girl, hula dancing.
She likes the Macarena here. It's like she likes that.
All right. What is your favorite sport, Monique?
She likes archery.
Archery. Interesting. All right. What is your favorite hobby?
I don't know what that is, but
It's either dancing or conducting music.
it could be conduct. She likes music, so that would, and whatever you say, she's just going to go along with it too.
All right. What is your favorite movie?
I don't know what this is. It's charades, spirit charades.
At first, I thought she was trying to say Batman, but something to do with waves. And that's pretty awesome, though. We're finally communicating with her.
Well, one thing she'll do is if I say do a shape, and then she's good at that. Like, you're like do some kind of shape, and here she's doing this.
So we need to make, Monique, can you make a Y for us for yes? So that is we can at least get a yes.
I don't
And
think she's gonna do what you want, but she'll go along with whatever is said.
well, that is, we just need a yes and a no.
Well, I don't think she does that. Like I said, I don't think she wants to do yes and no, but she'll just go along with whatever you're doing. So if I'm listening to music, then she'll go along with it, like the hula.
All right, and for those of you that are new and you don't know what's going on, what is going on is Stephen has a being with him, a non-corporeal being with him at all times. Her name is Monique, and I guess you could call her a ghost. I'm not really sure, but she's always with him, and we've been talking over the many podcasts. How can we communicate with her?
Yeah, she died by suicide.
She died by suicide. That's right.
She died by suicide. Yes, and she's coming back to like help because like my life's been really hard. So they come back to like kind of give you comfort.
Right. Do you like? What is your favorite?
She likes to get me to dance. So the last one I did is Fat Boy Slim.
It's hard to hear you. You're a little bit too far away from your computer.
I kind of.
Where'd he go?
My internet's not working.
Oh, there you are. I was like, where did he go? Someone in Martin asked if she, I don't know if she can answer.
Sorry, my internet's not working too well.
Oh, I don't know how Monique could answer this, but Martin wants to know when China's going to take over.
Take what over?
I don't know, Taiwan or what?
The problem in our world is corrupt governments. That's people are. Well, the number one problem in our world is corrupt governments. So if we didn't have corrupt governments, then we would have a pretty nice world, because they want people fighting. They want people thinking in terms of China versus Russia versus, they want people thinking in that mentality instead of thinking like the leaders are the problem.
Uh-huh. Makes sense. Makes sense. Have you been watching all the hearings of Donald Trump this week? And the January 6th.
Let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something, folks. What we're gonna do is gonna be so huge. Yeah, I don't think Joe Biden's gonna finish his 4 years. So.
I don't know if you guys saw it today, but Joe he fell on his bike. I don't think it was a hard fall or he was injured, but he came to a stop and kind of fell over.
Yeah, I don't think he's mentally fit. Good people just care about people.
Right.
So they're willing to adapt, but people that are evil have an agenda, and so they don't care who they're harming to get their agenda through. And that's the difference between another thing. So a good person, if let's say I borrowed them $10, it would bother them more than me. If I borrow $10 to a bad person, they don't care at all, and they'll just they'll demand more money. Or so it's like, if a good person bumps into you, they'll apologize, but a bad person can destroy your whole life, and they'll say, just get a new life. But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Right. All right, Stephen, you got any new words of wisdom for us this week?
Well, I thought I just, did a few, I was out with the bond the other day. We were John and, me and Joan, just having a good time, Yeah, Paul says that John visits him in his dreams.
Oh, wow. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video up lately. I guess now Paul, and they maybe have taken this video clips from their movie or series or their documentary series that's out on Disney. But now in concert, Paul shows John singing up on the telescreen, the giant screen, and Paul starts singing along with him. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm sure it's easy to find on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll look for it. I'll post some dancing videos down below, because I just did one recently. I think it's funny, and then a ball falls. Like, I didn't plan that at all. That just happened.
All right. Well, if you guys don't know, Stephen has a YouTube channel. He puts dancing videos. He puts spirit orbs videos. He does juggling videos. He does all kinds of stuff. He does impressions. If you get a chance, check it out and give him a sub. How about that?
All right, man. You got to do what you got to do here, man.
I got to run to the next person.
Thanks for having me on.
All right.
God bless everyone.
Thank you, Stephen. God bless you. Oh, he's gone. All right. I'm going to try Joel again. He's been so patiently with us the whole time, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just keep moving on, and eventually, hopefully, we'll get him in. But I'll move on to John next, and then we'll see. And it's just one of those days. Sometimes some guests, they just have difficulty. I don't know where he's based out of, but he's there. And it's just really slow. All right, so I'm going to put you back in the waiting room, and I'll go to Way Y9 Prime 2019. which I think is John. It is. There you are.
Hang on. I'm just gonna. Hang on, mate.
So it was so fascinating that you joined us. Can you hear me?
Hi, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes. So it was so interesting that can you hear me?
Yeah. Look, I wanted to test out my new microphone on my PC, so I was trying to get in on the PC.
Well, we can put you there on. I can
Well,
turn.
I'm on my phone, so maybe I can.
I can just turn on
maybe
here.
I'll-
Watch. I'll turn it up. Well, you got off. I was going to turn it on. It's fascinating. You can turn it on, and well, you can if it works, then we'll have. Then I'll turn off your mobile phone.
No, I'm just making a coffee as well, and I've actually, you know, those the Italian coffee brewers. I'll just see if I can flip this around. No, I can't. See these little Italian jobs,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
making my coffee.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I always wanted to try one of those. They work pretty good.
Yeah, well, be careful because it's made out of aluminium, and I ended up I was on a podcast or doing something online, and I had a bigger one than that, and I ended up leaving it on too long, and I came back like 20 minutes later, and the thing had melted. The handle had melted off it. Yeah, I really like Jesus. I could have burnt the house down. You know, like seriously.
Wow.
So
I had.
they're not like stainless steel, you know.
Oh yeah, you said they're aluminum.
Well, they seem to be. They seem to be like aluminum, as you say in the States. Yeah, aluminium, same thing. Yeah. So they're very light metal, and it's like, oh well, you know, burning a coffee. It's not really a good thing, you know.
I was saying earlier that
I like my coffee.
we had the Evan and Steven on, and I had brought you up about the word Aboriginal, and funny enough, then you appeared.
Cool. Yeah, look, I wasn't watching earlier. I only just got up. I was up till 3 a.m. in the morning.
So we psychically called you here to the podcast.
Yeah, look, they're a great couple of guys. I mean, they've really got some fantastic information. As I said, they're both anthropologists, I think, and they're both genuine Aussies. I mean, they're very accommodating and just typical Aussies, just really really good people. So not all of us are good people, but
it's Aussie Day.
Yeah.
And then after that, we had Jen and Marvin, who were also from Australia.
Yeah, look, I picked up on Marvin's accent, and I noticed they had the same shirt on. And I thought it was some sort of a special day or something, like a sales pitch for Kmart or something. No, I'm just joking. Everyone was having a bit of a joke, but no, all in good fun. And Jan seems to be pretty sensitive with the material that she's using, and I think as long as it helps people, that's a good thing. I actually sent you a message on Messenger on Facebook, Jeff. I just wanted to say on a really important note. I did notice that one of the commenters, Steve Gautier, or I don't know how you say that, lost his daughter just recently.
Okay.
And you know, we've been watching the comments over the years, and I felt a little bit. I thought I might bring this up that you know, often people think that someone might be a troll or whatever because it did come up, and it seems that he actually might have actually really lost his daughter. Now, having been in a similar situation of losing a child, and another lady made a comment on one of my podcasts, and I thought your suggestion of actually that you mentioned to me earlier, to get some sort of grief counselling, and maybe if you could make a disclaimer at the beginning of a podcast, if people do have issues with, say, suicide or something like that, really get out and seek some grief counselling, because I tend to be a little bit philosophically removed from the trauma that I had 30 years ago, but at the time it was so acute, and I forget that, and people might actually quip me for that. It's like, God, no, I have a lot of compassion. It's just that I've actually developed mechanisms through my own NDE to deal with death, and a lot of people aren't at the level that some people are, you know, on that philosophical cosmological level. And I corrected myself in the shower this morning. I thought, wow, I don't want to get too arrogant just because I've had an amazing experience, because people have feelings. I mean, they really, we're going through a stage now where people are asking about spiritual truths and they want to know. And you know, you lose a child, it is absolutely like crash. It just like it's been like hit with a bulldozer. And all you want to know is if that child or that person, that loved one is okay. And we often attribute, depending on how someone dies, it could be through a really nasty accident, like Joe Homsey, who's a personal friend of mine. He did a podcast with you. I did a podcast years ago with Joe, and his story would just knocked me for a six when I first heard it. And I kind of felt guilty because my NDE was not involved in my heart stopping or my brain stopping or whatever. And so, of course, people think, oh, it couldn't have happened. Well, it is true. No one would make this stuff up. I mean, you don't make money out of it. Genuinely, it's about opening up compassion for humanity's suffering. That's what the ultimate message comes through with all of this. And suffering is on so many levels, from acute to chronic, which I can put in, like in that augmentation, using those two phrases. So I just want to say, to Steve Good, if he's listening to this, I really feel sorry that he's lost his child. It's very tragic. There was a lady that commented on my latest podcast who had just lost her son, and I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, but I'll make a comment on that comment in the near future, because I just know how painful it is, and people go through so much pain when they lose someone. Yes, you do get over it, but it does take a long time. Some people never do get over it. I've got friends who've lost young ones, and every year it's like a reminder. It comes back at the point event, and they all go into meltdown, and it almost stagnates their own personal journey, because often we want to call that person either back to heaven. We have a lot of questions asking, why would God take my little kiddies away? This is just so unfair. And a lot of people turn away from looking for God or spirituality, even religion. So everything has a purpose. Sorry for that. I just felt very
I'm glad
funny about that. And
I'm glad you addressed that. And thank you for doing so.
So I was wondering if there's any viewers out there who are into grief counselling to possibly contact you, genuine ones who are authenticated, who know how to handle this sort of thing. Perhaps, as I said, maybe a written disclaimer that if anyone's going through, just to seek counselling and have some numbers to contact.
Have you heard of the organization? I had a guest on from the organization. I think they're pronounced a site, something like that. And it's an organization that helps NDEs who are suffering and having trouble processing their NDEs. And I think they're licensed therapist and or licensed psychologist, and they help. I think it's ASCEIT or ITE. It's terrible that I don't remember, but unfortunately I just can't remember every guest. Maybe that's what it is. But it's an organization that helps, like I said, NDEs process and help them get through their NDEs, because some of my guests that are NDEs are still suffering from processing their NDE. Like, for example, I had one lady that she does not leave the house unless she just has to.
Look, I can relate to that, because it's, for me, the transition pre-NDE to post experience it's almost like 180 degrees flip. It's like, the lead up to my experience, I had a lot of suffering and death of close friends and even loved ones and children. So for me, yes, absolutely. And I was just like, what the hell? Like this, it's like getting hit straight out of the baseball park with a triple home run. It's like, for me, it took the reflection. I mean, first of all, there was shock, elation, obviously, because there was so much love. The sheer difference between this earthly realm and there is it's unquantifiable, if that's the right word to use. You can't relate them. They're so far removed from each other, and so the levels between the suffering or the trauma and then the realization of what the hell happened. Okay, on so many levels. The first one for me is that death does not exist. That was the first immediate one. So of course there was elation. I went through this really profound period of doing stupid stuff, like driving too fast and having a bug on my windscreen, and my friend in the car was saying, slow down. I said, it's okay, look, there's no death. So it's like literally getting out there in very stupid realms. But then I got into a depression afterwards, and it lasted for about 5 years, only because I'd seen what I'd seen historically. And this was on a deeper level, involving reincarnation and souls coming back. And people often bring up soul traps and all of these very very complex cosmologies about whether the soul has one life or whether it has multiple lives. I have my personal realization. I personally believe in reincarnation now. I did not believe in it prior, because I was shown previous lives, and people say, and then you go into more questions on that level. I wanted to bring up another thing, seeing as Jen and Marvin were talking about the Lady of the Lake, and I'm not about to steal their heat. That's not my way. But a lot of these mythologies do come from earlier mythologies, and I wanted to cover witches, Jeff, and the old notion of witches flying on a broomstick. Now this I'll put in a disclaimer here. If there's any young people watching this underage, I suggest you don't listen to this, because it involved very, very intimate rituals with women only. And it'll make sense once I explain it. And I was told by a friend many, many, many years ago, when I was just starting to open up with my journey. And often, as we know, there was the Great Inquisition against the witches from the Patriarch, the Roman Catholic Church back then. The popes burned anyone who had any gifts or abilities, whether they were juggling, artists, people who were mystics. This was all taboo. They were very literalist, and everyone had to go through the papal system, the cardinals and the bishops. So of course the Inquisition hit witches very hard. I mean, a lot of witches got drowned in what they call the ducking chair. I thought it was dunking, but it's actually ducking. And they would strap the witch to this chair, and she'd have to confess in the Lord Jesus Christ. And if you didn't confess, then what we'll do is we'll plop you under the water. And of course, if she drowned, then she was saved by Jesus, because that was related to baptism, right, underwater. But if she floated, she was considered a witch and had to be burned on the stake, which was linked to a scripture of the second, the lake, or the fire burning in the lake, the judgment. So the church was taking on the role of God, which is forbidden. That's blasphemy. God is God. You do not take on the role of God. So the Catholic Church was in error. And so possibly Great Spirit decided to move the power away from the church back then, 400 years ago, as we emerged into the Renaissance. And scientists started to reincarnate or incarnate onto the planet. They started to challenge papal edicts about, where the sun and the moon and the planet. The universe did not evolve around Rome. And this, of course, was blasphemy again. And, people got burnt at the stake for actually claiming science. We forget this is only 400 years old. But with the witches, on a full moon, they were covens of women-only groups. So girls, keep your ears open on this one. This is a mind bender. What they would do is, if a girl came into just coming out of puberty, she was a virgin, and she would be incorporated into the coven. Now, the crone, who was the old witch, the oldest one of the group, she would be the administrator. And what they would do is they'd all go nude, dancing on the full moon, to raise up that energy, that kundalini, that inner fire. And the young virgin would be staked on the ground, laid out fully naked, and the girls would be dancing around naked. And so then the crone would have a stick, a penis-shaped stick, and she would dalb it with datura, which is a very powerful hallucinogen, very powerful. I know somebody who's had it, and my God, that's a story in and of itself. The crone then, at the height of the ritual, they'd all be dancing around, of course, all these naked women, they'd all be like, it's a sexual experience. And the first experience in anyone's love life is very powerful. The crone would insert the stick into the young initiate's vagina, of course, and she would, quote unquote, fly on the broomstick. She would have this phenomenal experience, out of body, whatever. Then, through that process, these are called imprints, and we have multiple imprints through our life, through our psychophysiological circuitry. She would imprint the crone as the lover, but the stick was an inanimate object. It was not a male. It had no emotion. It wasn't a person. It was a stick. And so the inanimate object imprinted, you had no emotion connected to a stick, right? None whatsoever. But the experience allowed you to experience this soul journey. Then they would introduce you into herbs, herbalists. Now, herbalists now are reincarnating en masse, and they feel they're under an inquisition again through the medical association, where the medical association says, no herbs and homeopathy and all of this ridiculous, they don't work, that's all just mumbo jumbo. Well, a lot of those guys in the medical fraternity now, these doctors and these PhD scientists, they are reincarnated Baptists, reincarnated Roman Catholic bishops. I've seen it. I've had visions about this. I thought, oh my God, these guys have come back. They were part of the Inquisition as bishops and cardinals, killing these young women, and they're still doing it now by attacking herbalism. And the irony is, most medical today, a lot of it comes from plant constituents, like quinine and things like this. Another good one is ivermectin, a Nobel Prize winning drug that was found in the soil of Japan, which has been banned as an antiviral, and yet it comes from the earth. So of course we've got this Inquisition re-emerging against paganism, but albeit they don't use the word paganism. So the witches then became a secret society. Now, they didn't emerge out of a vacuum in the jungles of England or Europe. This goes way back, way back into earlier mystery schools, which I won't cover now because it'll take another half an hour to talk about that. But I thought, now we know why witches, quote unquote, fly on a broomstick, because they were having a hallucinatory initiation rite done with women only. Where it got contaminated, obviously the church destroyed it. The women became suppressed. This was the patriarchy dominating the matriarchal energies, that feminine receptive. And it's still today, people think if a woman has these psychic abilities, ooh, she's spooky, she's got the evil eye or whatever. This is where all of this comes from. It's like a primal archetype that's been fed into our brain. And we have this fear that God's going to get us if we actually do these experiences. And so it all gets pushed underground. And anything that gets pushed underground, like an illness, you've been in the healing industry, it goes in, it gets darker, and then when it comes out worse. So it has to be released. So what we're seeing, all this stuff coming out now, all of these myths coming out, healers coming out, and they're not being killed literally, but the Inquisition is still ongoing with anybody who claims anything other than the church narrative. Now, let those fundamental Christians think about this, that you're actually stopping Holy Spirit coming out. You're actually working against Holy Spirit by denying people to express Holy Spirit in the way that they want to. And they are healing people. They are healing people, Jeff. That's what it's all about. Isn't that what Jesus Christ did with his 137 miracles? I counted them. He did all of these things. And people say, oh, they were miracles. I said, yeah, what's the difference between magic and miracles? People laying on hands, people doing Reiki, people doing healings, herbs. Let people heal. We're here to heal. We're here to fix the planet. Let them fix it. We're in a time where so many lies have been told to us over the eons. So many lies. And this needs to be rectified and cleansed and brought out. Get all that dirt to come out. And how dare you stop me and interject through my spirit coming through, my direct relationship with God. That's forbidden. That's what the block is. That's what the dark side does. Technically, that's what the dark side, that's what Satan or the dark side or Lucifer, whatever you call it. Once they start blocking your light, they're working for the Antichrist, and they are a dark force. So I'm using Christian terminology here to punch it home. Let people heal, We don't live in the dark ages anymore. We want this Inquisition to end. The light must be right. It is right because it's working with love. Anything that is not working with love works for the dark side, or is the human ego that ends up collectively becoming that great, what Jung calls that great, archetypal demiurge, this darkness that builds up. And that's where demons come from, the collective archetype. claiming that they know exactly what's going on. I've no idea what's going on. You know, I don't know what's going on in your head, Jeff, or my head every morning, and everyone seems to know what's going on in my head. I mean, wow, bravo for you. I mean, I'll come and thank you. It's like, anyway, I'm getting into a bit of a rant, but I just thought I'd chuck that little witch story in. Yeah.
And I appreciate you
about
coming.
witches and
I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us as always. I have to run because I've got two people waiting on me.
Yep.
And I'm officially over in 9 minutes, although I'll probably go past that. But appreciate you coming, seeing me. If you guys want to check out John's art, be sure to go to John Scott Art. I think that's what it is, .com. Check out his book, God's Mountain.
John Scott Artist, johnscottartist.com, and my book.
There you go, John Scott
Yeah,
Artist.
God's Mountain on Prime Amazon.
And
yeah.
I still have my challenge to him to paint me an NDE. And not just
well, I had a blank
white
canvas there last week. I showed you.
And not the blank canvas.
It's just
Paint
pure
me
light.
the pyramids underwater.
Oh yeah, well that's been done before too. Yeah, maybe
So,
I'll discuss what the Great Flood was next time we talk on a podcast, because a lot of people think the world was flooded, but I'll explain it in detail.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you next week.
Maybe.
All right, brother.
We never know.
I gotta run.
Thank you,
Thanks
Jeff.
again for coming and hanging out. I'll see you later. Cheers.
Thanks.
Hello, Jeff. Wonderful guest. The group think you were talking about IANs. That's Stephen. I was actually talking about, when I was talking with John, I think it's ASCITE. That was the group that helps people get through their NDEs that are suffering. I'm pretty sure that's it. I want to say also thank you to Lisa Anna. Thank you very much for the super thanks. I really appreciate that. And I'm not sure who's next. I'll admit Kim. I feel like I knew there was a female next. And while we're waiting for her, if I have a second, maybe I can find that group and I can tell you NDEASCITE. I think that's who they are. No, it's not that. I tried to Google it. Oh, I lost her. Gosh. Kim, are you there?
Are you? Yeah, I am.
All
Sorry, I
right.
didn't realize the waiting room was to talk to you. I
Oh,
thought it was just to get into the Zoom meeting, but I did want to get into talk, so
all
that's
right.
fine.
Well, here you are. Have you been on before?
Never, no.
Oh, you look familiar. So where are you zooming from?
Oakland, California.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So what do you have to share with us?
So I actually have a story that I'm super curious if anyone in your audience has ever experienced something like this.
All right.
Because I've heard about it like maybe twice, but I've never actually heard anyone that talk about experiencing this. So, like people have visitations where like you're dreaming and then somebody who's passed comes and
Right.
visit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty common. So the experience that I had was, and it happened in a dream. And I've actually had a lot of really cool experiences happen in dreams. And I think maybe, I'm a little bit more of a control freak, and that's why it happens in dreams and not just spontaneously in life. But yeah, my understanding is, the veil is thinner when you're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had some pretty cool dream experiences, but this one, so basically what it was is I met the soul of my dad who is alive. And the thing that was so interesting about it is that it wasn't like unrecognizable from the person I know in life. absolutely unrecognizable. And yet I immediately knew without a doubt, without a question, that it was my dad. And I know that sounds kind of weird, like contradictory, but this happened so long ago, and I didn't really, I mean, like I said, I mean, I believed, you know, what was happening to me. I knew it was true. And yet at the same time, when I would share this with people, they were like, oh yeah, that just sounds like a dream, a really cool dream. And I was like, I don't think it's a dream. I think it's something else. So I was so kind of relieved to hear a couple people mention this thing. And I think it was only this year that I heard somebody else talk about it. So I'm just super curious if anybody in your audience has ever experienced something like that.
Give me 1 second. I can give you my opinion. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. All right, so I've had a couple people during their NDE see people during their NDE that are living.
Yeah.
So we're going under the assumption that they're connecting with those people's higher self on the other side.
Right.
So my opinion is possibly was your father, I think that you said that you dreamed of, but he was different. Perhaps you dreamed or you connected with his higher self.
Right.
Dream.
That's what I definitely believe. Yeah. I just have never met another person. I've talked to a lot of my friends are into spiritual stuff, and I've talked to a lot of people who have had similar experiences to me, like, you know, either visitation or even going to, you know, what I believe, maybe even visiting the spirit world or somewhere else in dreams and lucid dreaming. I've talked to people who have had that experience, but I've never actually heard somebody talk about, you know, encountering someone's soul or higher self who's alive, like now, other than the people who've had, you know, NDEs, which are more like, that's pretty huge, you know, to have an NDE, you know, go through something pretty traumatic. But just, yeah, so that was it. I don't need 10 minutes.
That's okay. I want to follow it up with one more question, and that is, did your father appear like he does now, or did he appear younger or different?
You know, it's weird. And like, I've listened to a lot of your talks now, and I've heard people talk about like seeing people as energy. And so I think I must have seen him as energy but he still had like a humanoid form, but I don't remember any features or clothing or anything like that. It was kind of like pure energy, and like just knowing it was like the absolute core of who he really is. And it was so fascinating that it was so different from who I know in real life. And like I said to him,
you're back.
My phone's about to die. Sorry about the close up.
No problem.
I said to him, oh my gosh, this is who you are? I can't believe it. And I was just like, oh, you know, I was so overwhelmed by really the beauty of this individual. And that it brought me to tears. And I like threw my arms around him. Oh, and I said to him, why aren't you like this in real life? Like, I was like, why wouldn't you show this? And I threw my arms around his neck, and then the dream shifted and I was no longer with him. And I think I was having, because I've heard people talk about also like a rushing sound, like going up, you know, the top of your head. And it felt like I was on a roller coaster, like a really scary roller coaster. And I, like, looking back now, I realize it. I think I had to let go. And I think I freaked out because I like woke up screaming. I was like, and woke myself up. And when I woke up, I was like, what the heck was that? And then I thought about more. I was like, oh, I wish I stayed on that roller coaster. But anyway, so that's my story.
No, I think it's great. And I appreciate you coming and sharing it with us. One of the things that I like, I had a guest recently, and basically my interpretation of what she was saying is that when you see someone who has passed in a dream and they look different, especially younger, and you know, and a lot of times you only see them once,
Yeah,
I think
I've
that's
had
kind
that.
of I feel like that's a real visitation. Whereas if you see them as they
Yeah.
are now, maybe you're just kind of working out things, or as they were when they died. You're working out things that you're still processing their death, or working out something you needed to work out with them in your own consciousness. So it sounds like to me you had some kind of
Interesting.
real connection.
Yeah, I almost had wondered, like, was it almost a connection with me because things have become very difficult between us, like almost like a hey, this is who I really am kind of message.
Mhm.
That's what I suspect. But yeah, I've had that happen before, where a person who's passed, and I remember the first time that happened because I remember even thinking in the dream, like, this isn't like, I'm not like dreaming about this person, like, my reflections on the person. This is like this person now. And in that case, the person looked like I remembered them, but maybe in better health. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much again for coming and sharing with us. It makes it, it makes the program work when people like you come and share. So thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah. And thank you to both you and Mara. You guys are amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we got Randall up next. Oh, Tristan, thank you so much for the 1111. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Randall,
Hi, Jeff.
how are you?
Good. I like your channel a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah, I
so
like what you
much.
do.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Where are you zooming from?
Los Angeles, California.
Nice. You've been on before, right?
No.
No? Oh, you look familiar
No.
for some reason.
Oh.
Maybe it's I don't know. Sometimes people, I think I just said that with the last lady. I felt like I'm just feeling like I know everybody already for some reason.
Okay.
So, well, thank you for joining us. And
Yeah.
what do you have to share?
A UFO story.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
that
happened?
left a big imprint on me. I was at home. This was when I was 15 years old, and my sister asked if I can walk over to her friend's house a few blocks away and pick her up because her friend had picked her up earlier and they drove back to her house, but her friend was drinking, so she couldn't take my sister home. So I walked over there and we hung out for a couple hours and walked back. And it was about 1 a.m. and we're walking across this field and just talking. And all of a sudden, like my instincts picked up like very acutely. And there's just this big black triangular UFO just hanging in the air, like right over us. And it was probably like 100 to 200 feet up, and it was probably like 50 feet wide. And yeah, it wasn't making a sound, and it just hung in space. And I just told her, be quiet, stay still. And then she, is freaking out, and I'm trying to get her to calm down. And we're both seeing this, and it was hanging in air, and then it just kind of shifted, and it looked like it was checking us out. And we just went complete ape mode and just started running around and scurrying and not knowing what to do in flight and hiding behind cars and it was just, this was like a maybe 2 minute long encounter of a pretty intense UFO experience. And I was about to knock on someone's door, and I don't know. And then it started kind of going a little further back. So we just kind of stood in the street and accepted our fate at that point. And it just kind of went up a bit and then went over the suburban households. And we just ran home and freaked out and told our parents, and then debriefed at a Denny's that night about it all.
Debriefed.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story, and it's so consistent with so many others who see the triangular shaped UFO that they're completely silent.
Mm-hmm.
And
I had no lights either. Yeah.
no lights, and I guess you just look up and it kind of blacks out the stars, right?
Well, there's like an overcast, and it had like a red hue to it. So it had a backdrop to where it was darker than what was behind it. So I think that's how we're able to see it so clearly. And yeah, it was like a monolith moment where I don't know what it was, but it absolutely is clear that there are things that we don't know
Well,
about.
I don't, I completely understand your reaction. I mean, truthfully, if I were in the same shoes, I don't know how I would react if I saw that above me. And probably most humans would react the same. And maybe that's why they don't show themselves, or we'd have mass hysteria on the planet if we all saw it at the same time.
Yeah, I tell people that story, and sometimes people go, "Oh man, I would have been so interested," and I think I would be too. But when you're in that situation and you're alone and it's night and there's this thing that clearly has the upper hand and it's tremendous, it kind of puts you in your place. And I don't know, I wish afterwards that I had an opportunity like that again, but I've never had it again. I did have another experience. I dropped a coworker off at home after work, and it was about like 12 at night, and I was driving on the freeway and I saw a black triangle UFO again. And when I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, no one's gonna believe this. And this one though had a center strobing light and white lights in each corner, and it was right over the freeway, like going like this, and it just zoomed up and it went off. And that one looked more like it could have been like human technology, just because of the lights. The first one was just absolutely bizarre, though. It was really bizarre.
I like how you put it that they had the upper hand, because I recently watched an interview about UFOs, because now, I mean, I think it's not whether we believe in them or not. I mean, whatever they are, they're out there, and it's pretty much a done deal, proven that there's stuff flying over us. But the guy was saying, kind of what you were saying, that they're letting us know about their presence, and they're letting us know that they are superior to us in technology. Kind of like how you just said, they have the upper hand. Although they're not really, doing anything, but they're there and they have the upper hand. So
yeah, I mean, whatever it was, what's kind of fun about it is that because I don't know what it is, it allows my imagination to kind of work with it and figure what it may be. So I don't know.
I have a question from Christine in the chat that wants to know where you saw it. Was it in LA where you live? Maybe she lives in Los Angeles too.
No, it was where I grew up in Orange County, California.
Orange County, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty densely populated area.
Yeah, and it was it was late at night, so no one was out really. But yeah, it was very, very bizarre experience, which I know kind of like tore the veil for me.
I was going to ask that is, how did you change after that experience?
Well, I don't know. I guess a lot of people may respond either to carrying on with the world that they know, and then the other people may, try to figure out what the world is to them personally in relation to that. I'm pretty skeptical about following any narrative about what it may be. But what I do know is that I experienced it, and I think that it definitely made me more questioning about like everything in my life. So
all right, Randall.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. I really appreciate you, and hope I see you again sometime.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Oh, he's gone already. All right, so next is Angela. Now, I think this is Angela from India. She's finally come on to...
Hi.
Hello. There
Hey,
you
Jeff.
are. Hey, Angela.
Finally, I've come
Finally, you
online.
made it. Is everybody awake in India?
No, not yet. Everyone's asleep because it's Sunday morning and everyone goes out on Saturday nights. But I wanted to pop in and say, especially to Mara, because I keep seeing her, remind you, ask Angela to come online.
Yeah.
So Mara, this one's for you. And I just have popped in to say a big thank you for your podcast. It's one of my favorites. And I've not had any NDE, definitely have had a lot of the presence of God. I've felt it in many ways. I've connected up with a lot of your guests like John Scott and David Ditchfield and Jim as well. So they're like my friends now, and I'm so grateful. And whenever you guys come to India, I think we should connect, because these are connections which are so beautifully, brought to us by the universe. And I'm not an actress. I definitely do. I'm not an actress. I do sing and voice for ad films and audio visuals and stuff like that in India. But I just want to say a big thank you, Jeff. You are incredible. I mean, I just can't figure out how you do what you do, but thank you so much. And the first channel after I've done with my morning routine. And a big thank you to everyone who's on this group, because, when we connect on the messages, I can feel that love from Penny, from Steve. And Steve, you must get into voicing, okay? I mean, do it for me, if not anything else. You are phenomenal. And, I have been posting some links on your chat for him to connect, for people to connect with. And that's it. I just want to say thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mara. And I love your podcast.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And since you're in India, maybe you can find us some people in India who've had NDEs, so we can get people from other cultures. I've had a couple you've probably seen.
Yes.
But interestingly enough, the people, I think the majority of them were Christians.
Yes,
and not Hindus.
That's right. So the people who are Hindus, they tend to avoid clicking on channels which are English speaking, and they avoid trying to talk about their experiences. Like, I mean, I'm proper Catholic. So if I tell my friends, my close friends definitely know that I'm into NDEs and my life has changed after I've got to hear about some. But 90% of the people will say, oh, we don't believe in this. We don't believe in this. And people, even though we are so diversified in our religions, we are not really united. We tend to fight over our religion in India. And that is sad. So which is why people don't open up about their experiences, because everything can be politically, questioned as to, oh, how can you say this? So are you trying to say that, are you trying to say that this really happens? There's an afterlife, and then it can go to a whole new political issue. So people don't talk about it so openly here as yet.
I was surprised when I had a man, I think it was Santosh that I had. It was a guest from southern India, and he, from my viewpoint of what he said, NDEs was not really something that was wanted to be talked about. Are you still there?
Yeah, that's
okay,
yeah, that's
now
right.
You're back. I lost you.
I am here. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
He was saying that it was like he told his wife, and his wife didn't want to talk about it. I don't think his friend wanted to talk about it. It's like taboo to be talking about that.
Right.
Which I found
it is
fascinating.
Sadly. Yeah. So, I mean, people who come up and speak about their experiences, I just want to say, bravo, salute to you. And I'm learning so much just by hearing about everyone's experiences. My mom has Alzheimer's, so every time I see her, I know that she's getting closer to that transitional state, and all I can do is just pray for her to go in peace. And that has only come because of hearing about these conversations that you've been having. And I would definitely hope to see your boys someday too. I know you have your other channel, but it would be nice to maybe have them pop in and say hi to the rest of us as well.
I don't know, that's
not yet.
That's
not
up
yet.
to them. I don't know, but they, my we've had, as most of you may know that are here, that prior to this channel, I have children's channels, and my children have already had a lifetime of being a YouTube star, and they're kind of over it. Funny enough,
yes,
most teenagers would love to be on YouTube, and they had been doing it since they're like 3 or 4 years old. So by the time they're teenagers, it wasn't interesting anymore. They've moved on.
Yeah.
But
yes.
maybe they'll return someday. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure, now that we've requested it. So in terms of, I had connected with John, and he had one of his meditations. So if he's okay with it, which I will do, I will share a link which has John.
This is John Scott?
John Scott, yes, John Scott.
1 second,
and I will add some of...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he is...
Yes.
Oh, he was back trying to get in. I don't know, maybe if he wanted to join me for some reason. I just saw him here. Oh, wait, I messed this up again. Let me fix that, because maybe he was here wanting to speak
come
with
in.
you. Did you guys plan this to be here together?
Ask him if I can use his track to layer my vocals for anyone who would like to listen to it as a meditative thing. It's just drums and John humming.
Oh, nice.
And I can add my vocals and there.
This is a different John.
This is a different
okay,
John.
Okay,
sorry, John.
Okay.
The wrong John. I'll put you back in the waiting room.
Yeah, so I can add my vocals and share it on the Discord link, and anyone. So it's really nice, because when I heard it on John Scott's YouTube, I asked his permission if I could layer it with my vocals, and he said yes. So I'm going to ask him again, and if he's okay with it, I will record my vocals on it and share it on the Discord group.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah,
let it. Yeah, that'd be great. Yes, yes. Thank
okay,
you so
then.
much. All right. Well, thank you
Bye,
so
everyone.
much for joining us. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mara. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Cool. So we've got. Let me try Joel first. Joel is still here with us. He's a very patient man. Been trying to get him in all weekend. Not all weekend, all evening. And we'll see what we can do. And see what will happen. He can make it or not. So this has been a very busy evening today. It's been great. So thank you guys for staying and still staying here and hanging around. We got over 300 people, which is fantastic. And for some reason, his is just really slow. What I recommend, I wonder if he's got, it's either his internet, he may be in a region that his internet is slow. It's not, like if you were in the mountains, it is sometimes difficult. Like I've had guests sometimes that were way out in the mountains, and it was just very hard to connect with them. And I don't know if we had to finally break down and use their phone over their internet, because even sometimes the phone is better than the internet. So maybe he's in a particular part of the country where it just doesn't have a great connection, but he's having difficulty getting in. And I'm not sure why, but I want to keep the show moving along. So I'll put you back in the waiting room, and now we'll get John in. See what's going on with John, the different John.
Well, let's see.
Hey, John.
Hey.
How's it going? Where are you zooming from?
Minnesota.
Nice. Is it nice and cool up there?
Yeah, it was it gets hot and then gets cold again.
Oh. You know, the other day I was gonna do this and I didn't post it, but I can show it here if I still have it. I took a picture. My car has like a dashboard. Let me move this out of the way. On the dashboard of my car, I can post like the temperature outside, and this is what it was reading. If you guys, let me see if it's readable. It doesn't say, you can't read it, unfortunately. The lighting's not right here, but it says 107 degrees. So it was 107 degrees outside of my car the other day, and I was just, at that point, I was wishing I was in Minnesota and not Texas.
Yeah.
Anyways, what do you have to share for us this evening?
I was gonna say, actually, I don't know. Actually, no. Let's see. Well, I've still been I've still been testing out how to something about blocking the lights to make a spiritual shift.
Okay.
And no, I listened to what that guy was saying, John. He was talking about death and stuff, I hopped on and I started hearing what he was saying, but I think the spirituality is about processing death is while you're alive, I think. And it may be that we're so caught up, we're getting hit with lights. A lot of, I'm just wearing sunglasses because I'm kind of a private person. It's not, but there's definitely something going on with stimulation from lights. I mean, I think so. That is preventing some kind of a spiritual awakening. Because and I'd just say a couple days ago I did it for 2 hours. I used a like a good eye mask, and just did that for some amount of time during the day. And I feel like, well, you've heard of sensory deprivation type things, right?
Right.
But anyway, that stuff isn't fun. But I could say some more interesting things quickly if you want.
Well, no, I'd like to stay on this subject because you mentioned it, and I was curious about. You said blocking out the light. So, are you saying blocking out artificial light, like in what's in their, our houses and buildings?
Well, look at it this way:
blue lights from your computer.
Lights have only been we've only had lights for a century or so.
Right.
So what I think might be happening is that the lights are almost causing us to form projections of the future and the past. And so we're not present to, and then we don't have this kind of a magical quality in our life.
Interesting.
It's like a quality where you're living and you feel like a oneness, that people talk about in their NDE or this and that. And it may, a lot of it might be just simply from, we're living in projections because the lights hit us, like in our cells even. And then we end up projecting like an artificial sense of a future and of a past, you know what I mean? And then we don't discover something new. And then, but that quality of sensing out what's new is spirituality. And so, and it makes life worth living, I think.
Would you group candlelight in with these other lights?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not debating you. I'm picking your brains. I'm just curious about, what you're thinking about this.
Yeah.
candlelight is more of a natural light, obviously. Fire, right? But, you know, and people talk about, at least when you sleep, you've got to, you know, you get better sleep if you can make your room completely black and you don't have any lights in your room. And one thing I've even done personally is that I put like a infrared light in my bathroom and in the hall, because supposedly infrared lights don't mess with your circadian rhythm, like if you have to get up and use the bathroom in the middle of the night. So that way I don't have to turn on the light, and I don't have a white night light. I keep the red one on. It can help me go back to sleep easier. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I'm just throwing that out there as, I'm not disagreeing with you about lights may have some kind of function with us. I think it's interesting.
No, I don't have any conclusions, but this is what I'm trying to find out right now, because I think I definitely noticed a couple days ago, I spent some time just blocking out the lights, and I felt like a deeper spiritual dimension. And then the day definitely had more of so I just want to find out, you know. It's not so much but what I think though is that, yeah, I think it'd be confusing because maybe we end up making a lot of decisions under confusion with all this, from a lot of stimulation. And then it's like an uprooting process that's hard to, it's not, you know what I mean? You'd have to uproot a little bit and see and process, and it's kind of somewhat challenging, I would guess. But
if you listen to people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think, and some other people, they'll say that a lot of our, you know, our problem is that we're always living in the past and bringing it to the future. We're never in the present. You know, you're basing your life off your past memories, and you're projecting that into the future. So I think you're spot on with that. I never considered that a cause or the cause could be due to electromagnetic, you know, all the lights that we live on. And maybe that has an effect. I just that never crossed my mind. And I think that the best way to go about it is to do experiments like what you're already doing, is this experiment with it.
yeah. I think it's about being stuck in the intellect, basically. And this whole time period is kind of stuck in the intellect, you know. So
it would be nice if we all could slow, you know, we live in a fast-paced world or in a tech world. It would be nice if we could, you know, and you have to, you know, earn money to survive in this world. So it'd be nice if we could all slow down and, you know, maybe, you know, in the evening, sit around a fire, be outside, look at the stars. If it was, you know, if here would still be too hot, probably be nice where you're at, but you know what I mean? Like in a different environment, being outdoors, the natural starlight and the moonlight, instead of, you know, watching TV. That alone I would see, it would be a tremendous spiritual what's the word? You know, it would help us all out spiritually.
no, you know, yeah. What's happening, as I see it too, though, some countries are really building like their infrastructure, and yeah, I hear what you're saying though, but I think we might be in this kind of position where we depend on stimulation because you're stuck in a particular nation, which gives you a sense of being divided, you know? And then out of that sense of being divided, you look for more stimulation and things to make sense of it. But I think there's a universal area that you can, so it might be lights and screens, might be yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's there's something about stepping out of this whole
Right.
time period too, I
Right.
think.
Right. And before I go here, I just want to mention that we're all moving even into the new reality, which is being in
Yeah.
the metaverse or being in some type of where you're in, what do you call those? When you put the goggles on and you're in VR. So now it's the newest thing is now we're moving into virtual reality world. So where is that going to take us?
Oh, no, I can say one thing though, very clearly. There's like, I think Steven was saying something about like, he says some things like a good person or a bad person, right?
Right.
Some things are very clear, like there's like a universal clarity or like a universal kind of understanding. But what I know is that there's also, you can like observe like a universal language, and that can also like boost like you can almost step out of time by writing down like the ending of time. I don't know, it's just random, I guess. I think your podcast it's all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's cool.
I'm gonna try. I'll try and come back and think of something more concrete or something.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you next week. Thanks
All
for
right,
joining us, John. I appreciate you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Okay, talk to you.
Cheers. All right, let's see if Mr. Carroll can get in this time. We've been trying to get him on all night, and he has been so patient and still with us here. So we'll see what we can do. And there's 300 of you still here with me, so thank you guys so much. Again, if you haven't seen it, below is a link to our Discord. And if you don't know what Discord is, it's kind of like Facebook, but different. And it's free. You can go make a profile, and then you use my link to join my server. And there's a lot of like people there. There's over 300 people, maybe 350 people there that all hang out. You can chat, you can voice chat, you can video chat, you can post whatever you want. That's there. I do have a second channel. It's NDEs only for those of you who love NDEs, and it's an NDE clips channel. And so what that means is like I go through my catalog and just cut out the NDE. And usually it's anywhere from like 5 to 15 minutes where someone shares their NDE. I cut off the intro, I cut off the end, so you just get that one little piece. And I think it's great for those that don't have an hour to invest in a regular program and they just want to hear the NDE. So that's called JeffMara NDE Clips. And again, that's below. If you are into that, please subscribe. My Facebook page is there. So besides posting the videos there on our Facebook page, we do post some news articles like I did there. And as well as you can friend me on Facebook. And you can find out that Mara's my wife. My real last name is Reynolds. You get about 5,000 friends, so I'll just keep adding people until they reach the limit. And at that point, Galaxy in. Put Joel back in. And we'll see what's going on with him. And before I go, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. If you're already Father's Day, then Happy Father's Day to you. I guess no, it's not yet. And if not, then Happy Father's Day to you tomorrow. James, are you there?
Yes. Hey, JeffMara.
Hello, James. So, have you had any supernatural experiences?
Yes. Yesterday I was laying down and I woke up and I felt something come over me. So I went out my room and I couldn't even control myself. So I kept making weird noises and I felt like, oh no, what's going to happen? Because I didn't feel myself like doing it, but it was coming over me and I just couldn't control it. So all of a sudden, this lasted for like 5 minutes. So I was busy carrying on, making very, very weird noises. And at one moment I started to go on the couch and I felt something grab my face and pull me in. And that's when I started to fight it. And that's when I started to control myself finally. And that's when I started acting normal, but I was out of breath and it hurt and was very paranormal. And I don't know how this could happen, but these voices were coming over my head.
At first I thought, were you having an out-of-body experience?
Yes, well, I felt myself in the body, but I couldn't like control myself physically. Like I felt it, but I wasn't in control.
Do you think you were under sleep paralysis, like your body was paralyzed? And you know, because some people have that, their body's paralyzed and they can't do anything, but some people can actually overcome that, and while they're paralyzed, kind of have an out-of-body experience.
That may have well happened. I just couldn't really do anything about it until, like I said, I got pulled in the couch and I started fighting my way out of it.
Did it happen while you were laying down, like you were taking a nap or something?
Yeah, well, it started as soon as I got up from the nap. Yes, sir. And I couldn't control myself after that until I finally fought it.
And you were hearing voices?
Yes. It was going like row, 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 row. And it was very, very uncomfortable. Like I heard the voices and people talking to me, but I couldn't really say anything, even though I tried so hard.
Interesting. So how have you processed that and how have you changed?
Well, my mom, she was telling me, did you hear me say this, say that? And I'm like, yes, but I couldn't really like say anything about it until I finally fought it. And then I told her. And it was very crazy because this never happened before. Like demons, if it is an entity that controlled me, it wouldn't take over me because they would always go against me. Like I'm the least person in my family that would get encountered by a demon or entity.
So what did your mom say when you told her about it?
She was very, very scared too. And I told her I was okay and it ended like that, but it was just very, very weird. And I still don't know what happened to this very second.
All right. All right, James. Well, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Jeff. You have a good one, sir.
All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your weekend.
You too, bro.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Cheers. And I saw him back, but I guess he's still not able to get in. That was Joel again. There's two. Colleen from New Hampshire. Thank you so much for the super thanks. I really appreciate you and appreciate that kind gesture. Holding this space, my first time live, love your podcast. And yes, Mara is my wife. So the secret, you have learned the secret that JeffMara, Mara is not my last name, it's my wife. And only you dedicated people probably are the ones who mostly know about that. A lot of people I still see from time to time. As a matter of fact, recently someone asked, who is, like, who's Mara? I guess he's not here. So anyways, again, happy Father's Day to everybody. Thank you so much for watching and being with us this week and watching us all week long. Thank you so much for watching the videos. We really appreciate you. We love you guys and have a great rest of your weekend. Good night.